name is Olga Rodriguez Ferran. I'm a PE teacher in secondary school and part-time lecturer in the Faculty of Sports Science at the University of Murcia. I coordinate PINC project in the name of University of Murcia in Spain.
Hi, I'm Ambra Gentile and I'm a researcher from the University of Palermo. And together with Marianna Lesi, Antonino Bianco, Giuseppe Battaglia and Valerio Giustino, I'm a member of the PINC team.
Giuseppe Battaglia, I am an Associate Professor of Adapted Physical Activity at the University of Palermo.
I'm Valerio Giustino and I'm a researcher at the University of Palermo in Italy.
My name is Jana Tomišková and with my project team members Ladislav Balón and Tomáš Vyhlídal, we are from Palacký University Olomouc, Faculty of Physical Culture.
Hello, I am Athanasios Kolovelonis from the Department of Physical Education and Sports Science, University of Thessaly, Greece. My main responsibility on PINC project was the internal evaluation of the project.
My name is Silvia Duarte and I work here in Fundación Once. You can see the logo behind me. And Fundación Once is the biggest foundation in Spain. It comprises the main organizations that work with people with disabilities in the country. The mission of the Once Foundation is to contribute to social inclusion of people with disabilities and achieve the two principles, basic principles, that is equal opportunities and non-discrimination. That's why we are participating in the PINC project. It's really natural for us to be partners of the project. And we have developed the guide number 4, that is the guide for leading an educational community. Strategies for raising awareness towards inclusion. This is what we have done in the project.
The idea of this project was born from a need analysis in all 5 countries of the team that show a low preparation of active teachers and students from sports science and educational science to favor inclusive play in school environments. In Spain, since 2011, a program called Patios y Parques Dinámicos has been developed with kindergarten and primary school students and has developed teachers training as well in order to promote play for all during break periods. This program and its experience has been a fundamental reference in the development of the materials, for which we are very grateful to its author, Hey Lagar.
I am Hey Lagar, author of the social inclusion program Patios y Parques Dinámicos. Its objective is that all students enjoy in a meaningful way the break time. In Spain, main kindergarten, primary and secondary teachers have been training, but few universities have incorporated in their curricula. It has been important for me to collaborate with the university to increase the training and social impact.
Our guide facilitates the teaching process of the PINC training. This guide explains how to deliver the contents about inclusion during the school recess by presenting methodology, strategy and inclusive games.
Our guide has number 3, and the purpose of this practical guide on play is provide you with necessary information for the implementation of inclusive play during breaks and free time in school and sports clubs. Our guide is focused on stimulating thinking and decision-making process on accessible play to all pupils. A practical guide on play will provide you with information about MAR model, which is introduced in the stratific table. In the next step, it is described case studies from different types of environments and school and is analyzing with the MAR model.
The University of Murcia has been in charge of the coordination of the second guide, Theory Guide on Play, Play as a Facilitator of Inclusion. This guide will present students with a theoretical basis for inclusive play. It will address the fundamentals of design, methodology and evaluation of play for all, starting with an awareness of social, sensory, communication and physical barriers, and identifying them in the natural play environment, in natural breaks, during the school period?
Well, we can learn a lot of things from the guide, but when we think in inclusive playgrounds or in inclusive leisure times, we normally think in two actors, students and teachers. And well, there are more actors involved in this process that we need to consider when we are talking about the topic. And what I'm talking about, of course, the families, but also non-teaching staff, also local and national organizations, and of course, public and private institutions. So all the interaction of all these actors is explained in the guides, or at least the ideal interactions of these actors. And there is a lot of theory there, but it's really, really important and really interesting too. And besides that, we also have a practical part in the guide that really give you tips about how we can make it real. So I think that you should have a look of the guide.
The guide could be used to design, to develop a specific training program to support university teacher, university student or school teacher and a sport coach, for example. The guide of PINC project is a new model, a new idea to develop the inclusion process in sport and school context.
Our guide can be used by university students, university teachers, school teachers, sports instructors or volunteers in sport clubs. In our guide you can find supporting materials including games, game cards, infographics with barriers and strategies, links to publications or websites that provide useful materials to make the game accessible.
Teachers of education and sports science degrees may include this content in their related subject in the areas of education, leisure, or specific disability, thus providing their students with skills that will enable them to be inclusive professionals in their future fields through play. The contents of the guide may also be useful for those professionals working with school children outside school hours through leisure service, special needs services, social work, etc. Play is a natural activity in childhood and an excellent vehicle for learning, which is why this guide provide the competencies in all professionals services that care for children or families.
Well, this guide can be used by educational science students, university teachers, school teachers, sports instructors, but also families, community organizations, and public institutions, of course.
My main learning point from the PINC project concerns the fundamental role that the community can play in supporting of an inclusive culture in school. In particular, the role that not only teachers but also school staff, families and local association can play. Moreover, another point is the ability to transform existing games in inclusive games in order to promote and include all students.
Working in multidisciplinary teams is fundamental to achieve the best results. I have experienced it in the development of the PINC training materials with this great team of experts in different educational fields. We consider it to be the key to the future of teachers who have the challenge of working with very diverse students in the classrooms, favoring inclusion in all school periods, including breaks. For this to happen, teachers special educational needs specialists, families, external entities, and management teams must work as a team.
Well, there are a lot of things that you are going to discover in the guide, but I would like to talk about the barriers we talk in the guide. Why? Because it doesn't matter who you are or what you are doing in this moment. It is always important to remember the barriers that are avoiding that any inclusive process is doing well and in an integral way. So the first barrier we are talking about is attitudinal barriers. We are talking about the prejudice, the stereotypes, all these things that we have in mind when we are referring to people with disabilities. And the most important thing here is to remember to respect the difference between one person and the other, one kid and the other. There are another barriers that I would like to talk about, and is the insufficient qualification and the lack of real leadership in this area. So we are talking about poor training for educators, and also poor training for managers and leaders. And this is something that public administrations and private administrations should be thinking about, should be thinking in changing the training of all these actors to make sure that we have inclusive playground, but of course an inclusive society. That is what we are aiming, right?
Yes, more than 100 university students and 10 teachers participated in the pilot training of the PINC project in the 5 countries of the consortium. The pilot training consists of 4 lectures of 3 hours each, structured both in theoretical and practical activities. Students participating in pilot training provided constructive feedback for PINC course. They found the materials interesting, useful, and very informative. They also reported that they increased their knowledge and skills regarding inclusion in sport and physical education settings, and they felt more confident to promote inclusive play. At the same time, students highlighted areas for improving PINC educational materials, including a more comprehensive way of presenting the materials, the improvement of some pictures, and increasing the number of practical sessions and inclusive games. Similarly, teachers delivering the PINC course provided constructive feedback highlighting areas for improving these materials, including the need of a better organization of materials, increasing the time for delivering the course. Both students and teachers' feedback were used for improving the quality of PINC materials. So we are planning to use PINC materials in courses of our program of study in our department that involve inclusive related issues in sport and physical education. Moreover, we are going to use these materials in future teachers' training programs organized by our department, aiming to increase teachers' awareness and skills regarding inclusion in playgrounds.
Hello. From Belgium, we already asked one professional and one of our students who's doing his internship how they find a PINC project could help them in their practice. What you see next is what they thought about it.
Hello Nancy, welcome. You are working as a support teacher for several years in supporting inclusion in schools. What is the value of the PINC project for you as a support teacher?
I think the project has a big value because often a teacher expects an already made solution for inclusion, but inclusion is a dynamic process. So the PINC project focuses on people's skills, so teachers can develop their confidence and their competencies to realize an inclusive playground.
What I liked about PINC is that it lets me think about diversity at the playground, but not only at the playground, but in life in general.
So the PINC project, how can it be useful for your practice?
Well, I have been working from an inclusive view for years. The PINC project made me reflect about my own actions. So I want that teachers think about inclusive play, and I will support them to develop their competences.
Okay, thank you for your reaction, Lucy.
Please.
I would certainly use it to speak with teachers at my internship. And after my internship, I will use the cases to reflect with my team about diversity and inclusion in general.
Don't look for reasons why inclusion is not possible, but to look for ways to make it possible.